G'day guys, welcome back to Beyond. Today I'm going to be looking at who owns Donald Trump. Is it America? Or is it another country that you may or may not be aware of? Without further ado, let's get into this. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. Let's get on with the video.
I will tell you, you're not going to have a war with me, and you're not going to have a third world war with me. That I can tell you.
Well, that turned out to be very short-lived, as last night, the US and Israel launched a quote-unquote preemptive attack against Iran. Like, what even is that? What are they trying to preempt exactly? And I mean, I get wanting to take out the Ayatollah, but a strike on a girls' school killing 85 students? Come on. Like, if you're walking down the street and somebody just punches you in the face, it's probably not going to matter to you if they say, it was just a preemptive punch. So the big question is how and why did the Trump and Vance pro-peace ticket decide to launch an attack that could, quite honestly, lead to World War III? Or maybe another way of asking that question is, could we be quite possibly being controlled by a foreign government? Because I'm about to show you a ton of different receipts, and I want you to come to your own conclusion. Because remember, Donald Trump was the one back in 2013 who tweeted, quote, "Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Barack Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly. Not skilled." Well, that did not age well, to put it mildly.
They see that in Iran, and you know what? It's going to happen to them unless they come to the table. And if you had the right leader, you would have them at the table right now without having to waste lives and billions of dollars.
All right. So assume that we did have them at the table. What in the world do you think it is that we could offer them to persuade them, to convince them, to scare them, or whatever it is for Iran to step down on a nuclear weapon development?
Survival. It's survival. That's what we offer them. It's pure and simple. A horrible thing to say, it's survival.
Well, look, the truth is they've been coming to the table for years and years, and look where it's gotten them. All their leaders are getting killed. And for years and years, they've been telling us it's because they have a nuclear weapon. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Although I will just say at this point, and this is going to be still pretty controversial, but I think it's without a doubt that if Iran had nuclear weapons, none of this would be happening. And if you notice, it's always the same dude from one particular country that keeps telling us we got to go to war with Iran.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
So fool me once, shame on me. Fool me for 30 years. I don't know what that's called. Maybe we could say that we're Israel's puppet. Can we say that? Well, Trump did back in the 2016 Republican primary campaign when he called out Marco Rubio with this tweet saying, quote, "Sheldon Adelson," and he is the big pro-Israel Zionist donor, billionaire guy, he's looking to give big dollars to Marco Rubio because he feels he can mold him into his perfect little puppet. I agree. Boy, how the mighty have fallen. Because look at who the puppet is now. And that is, of course, Donald Trump, with Sheldon Adelson's widow, Miriam Adelson, who gave Trump upwards of $250 million, now much more than that, to his campaign. But the crazy thing in all of this is we supposedly took care of this last year in terms of Iran's nuclear capabilities. This is still up on the White House website. Iran's nuclear facilities have been obliterated, and suggestions otherwise are fake news. So what the heck is really going on here?
This has never been about nuclear weapons. This has been about Israel's regional hegemony in the Middle East. Israel wants to topple the Iranian regime, period. It has said so. This is not a mystery. This is not my claim. This is Israeli policy repeated year in, year out. The whole idea that Trump is negotiating to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Duh. That was negotiated. Trump ripped it up. The Iranians have come back every year to say, we don't want a nuclear weapon. We want negotiations. The United States does not accept yes for an answer because it works for the government of Israel. This is the point. Why does it work for the government of Israel? It's a little hard to understand. Maybe because it's of Mike Hucklebee's parishioners, because of people who read the Bible and say, okay, that's our foreign policy. That's possible. It may be because of what's in the Epstein files that haven't been released. It may be blackmail. It may be corruption. It may be many other things, but it is not about America's interests. We have no interest whatsoever in going to a war with Iran right now. If there is such a war, it's a war because Israel has told the United States what to do. And that raises a question. Why has the United States done what Israel has told the United States to do for 30 years? And I don't just mean about Iran. I mean across the Middle East.
Wow, Mr. Jeffrey Sachs, he really was not mincing his words there, was he? And I think through what he was talking about there, I think we can hopefully start to see why we talk about the things we talk about on this channel, right? Why do we research certain things? Why do we talk about other things? It's because they're all interconnected in a way, right? The Epstein files, the inner workings of the Israeli lobby, the Zionist influence over the media. You could say their takeover of the media, because I think it all culminates in moments like this. And that background and context allows us to fully understand the totality of what is going on here versus just listening to the media propaganda.
You've appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant, so that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean...
Not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places that are now countries.
But this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started on this.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
It would be fine if they took it all. And quite honestly, I think, this is a bit cynical of me to say, but if Israel were trying to do that on their own, there's nothing much I can do about that. I can't control their military. But the issue here is they're demanding that we sacrifice American lives on behalf of their geopolitical agenda. Okay, take a listen to what Trump said last night.
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future. And it is a noble mission.
A noble mission, he says, which is giving off, I think many people have pointed out, it's giving off a little bit of a Lord Farquaad vibes now.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, says all the people who would never have to go to the front lines themselves or even send their children to the front lines. But back to the big question, how does Netanyahu and Israel have this kind of power over nearly every single American politician, Trump included, right? As Sachs was saying, it's maybe the Israeli lobby money, and that's certainly a part of it. The Epstein blackmail, I think, certainly has a part to do with it as well, and we now certainly have some evidence of what he was doing behind the scenes, not all of it, but we know some of it. And it's also, I think, because they're literally holding us hostage, allegedly speaking. Take a listen to CIA whistleblower John Kiriakou here.
The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said, for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So according to your source, the Israelis told the President of the United States that if he did not use the United States military power to bomb the nuclear facilities in Iran, Israel, acting on its own, would use nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Do you see why there's a problem with that statement, John?
Yeah.
Because they've never admitted that they've had them.
That's right.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the President of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them. They started working on them in the 50s.
And that is basically the elephant in the room, isn't it? Which is that there is one country in the Middle East with nuclear weapons, a secret program that officially doesn't exist. By the way, now would be a great time for people to familiarize themselves with the Samson option if you haven't already done so yet. Just the highlights. The Samson option refers to Israel's alleged strategy of employing massive retaliatory nuclear strikes as a final resort if the nation faces existential destruction. Named after the biblical figure Samson, it aims to deter enemies by ensuring that any aggression leading to the state's collapse would result in mutual destruction, serving as a last-ditch defense mechanism. We say allegedly, okay? But in all seriousness, I kind of get why Israel is sort of concerned about Iran, but you have to wonder why we in America are so concerned about Iran, a country that has never attacked us up until now. I mean, you can't tell me that with this many military bases around their country, they are more of a threat to us than we are to them. I mean, this is comical, this map. And there was one voice, one very prominent voice, loudly warning us that this doesn't make any sense at all for us to get entangled in another Middle East war on behalf of Israel.
Let's be honest, this is more Israel pushing for Iran, but is that America's problem? That's I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is, you know what? They were wrong about Iraq. They were wrong about Syria. They were wrong about Afghanistan. They were wrong about the Taliban. They were wrong about Libya. They were wrong about the Arab Spring. They were wrong about Yemen. They were wrong about the Arabian Peninsula. They were wrong about the 9/11 hijackers being Saudi Arabian. But hey, 10th time's a charm. This time we're actually right. Yeah, you're going to have to earn our trust on this one.
And I think Charlie's right. It's a very weird obsession these people have, and you got to wonder where that comes from, in that they just keep saying, oh, we got to get rid of this guy or that guy, and now we can get peace, we can get prosperity, because we've literally tried this strategy so many times, including in Iran, which led to this fundamentalist regime taking power. And now Charlie's dead. This is Candace Owens, her words not mine, but something to consider. She says, quote, "We will never forget the day they murdered Charlie Kirk for this war, and he knew they were going to do it. He spent his final days mentally anguished, texting the very people who would ultimately betray him. In honor of Charlie, I stand against Israel."
There you have it, guys. So, yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people are waking up to the fact that there is only one country that needs to basically stand back and be held accountable. And they will call us, you know, racists and bigots and all that. But at the end of the day, they are disrupting world peace. They believe that they are higher than us. They think that they are the chosen ones by God himself. And yeah, what do you reckon? Comment down below. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.